Good morning, my friends. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. This week's almost done. I'm not mad about it. All right. What was I just going to say? Oh, Donna, 17 inches of snow. You're just going to have to lift the dog out and toss him into it. Let him use the bathroom and then go digging back out. It's always fun to try to put little dogs out when there's 17 inches of snow. All right, January 19th. Job. We're going to move into Job for a bit. The account of Job is traditionally thought to have taken place around the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or shortly thereafter. However, it could have occurred as late as the exile. Prologue, Job 1:1-5. There once was a man named Job who lived in the land of Uz. He was blameless, a man of complete integrity. Who doesn't want that sentence written about them? A man of complete integrity. He feared God and stayed away from evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 team of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. He also had many servants. He was, in fact, the richest person in that area. Job's sons would take turns preparing feasts in their homes, and they would also invite their 3 sisters to celebrate with them. When these celebrations ended, sometimes after several days, Job would purify his children. He would get up early in the morning and offer a burnt offering for each one of them. For Job said to himself, "Perhaps my children have sinned and have cursed God in their hearts." This was Job's regular practice. Job's first test, Job 1:6-22. One day the members of the heavenly court came to present themselves before the Lord. The accuser, Satan, came with them. "Where have you come from?" the Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, "I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on." Then the Lord asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all of the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil." Satan replied to the Lord, "Yes, but Job has good reason to fear God. You have always put a wall of protection around him and his home and his property. You have made him prosper in everything he does. Look how rich he is. But reach out and take away everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." "All right, you may test him," the Lord said to Satan. Do whatever you want with everything he possesses, but don't harm him physically." So Satan left the Lord's presence. One day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting at the oldest brother's house, a messenger arrived at Job's home with this news. "Your oxen were plowing, with the donkeys feeding beside them, when the Sabeans raided us. They stole all the animals and killed all the farmhands. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. "The fire of God has fallen from heaven and burned up your sheep and all the shepherds. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, a third messenger arrived with this news. 3 bands of Chaldean raiders have stolen your camels and killed your servants. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." While he was still speaking, another messenger arrived with this news. "Your sons and daughters were feasting in their oldest brother's home. Suddenly, a powerful wind swept from the wilderness and hit the house on all sides. The house collapsed, and all of your children are dead. I am the only one who escaped to tell you." Job stood up and tore his robe in grief. Then he shaved his head and fell to the ground to worship. He said, "I came naked from my mother's womb, and I will be naked when I leave. The Lord gave me what I had, and the Lord has taken it away. Praise the name of the Lord." In all of this, Job did not sin by blaming God. Job's second test, Job 2:1-10. One day the members of the heavenly court came again to present themselves before the Lord, and the accuser Satan came with them. Where have you come from?" the Lord asked Satan. Satan answered the Lord, "I have been patrolling the earth, watching everything that's going on." Then the Lord asked Satan, "Have you noticed my servant Job? He is the finest man in all the earth. He is blameless, a man of complete integrity. He fears God and stays away from evil. He has maintained his integrity, even though you urged me to harm him without cause." Satan replied to the Lord, "Skin for skin. A man will give up everything he has to save his life, but reach out and take away his health, and he will surely curse you to your face." "All right, do with him as you please," the Lord said to Satan, "but spare his life." So Satan left the Lord's presence, and he struck Job with terrible boils from head to foot. Job scraped his skin with a piece of broken pottery as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, "Are you still trying to maintain your integrity? Curse God and die." It's a good wife, right? But Job replied, "You talk like a foolish woman. Should we accept only good things from the hand of God and never anything bad?" So in all of this, Job did nothing wrong. Job's 3 friends share his anguish. Job 2:11-13. When 3 of Job's friends heard of the tragedies he had suffered, they got together and traveled from their homes to comfort and console him. Their names were Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. When they saw Job from a distance, they scarcely recognized him. Wailing loudly, they tore their robes and threw dust into the air over their heads to show their grief. They sat, I don't know why that strikes me as funny. There's nothing wrong with that. Culture is so different then than it is now. Can you imagine if we were in grief and we tore our clothes and threw dust up in the air? Culture is so different now, and it just makes me laugh. I picture these people out there throwing dust. Then they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and nights. No one said a word to Job, for they saw that he was suffering too great for words. Those are good friends. Job's first speech, Job 3:1-26. At last Job spoke, and he cursed the day of his birth. He said, "Let the day of my birth be erased, and the night I was conceived. Let the day be turned to darkness. Let it be lost even to God on high, and let no light shine on it. Let the darkness and utter gloom claim the day for its own. Let the black cloud overshadow it, and let the darkness terrify it. Let that night be blotted off the calendar, never again to be counted among the days of the year, never again to appear among the months. Let that night be childless, let it have no joy. Let those who are experts at cursing, whose cursing could rouse Leviathan, curse that day. Let its morning stars remain dark. Let it hope for light, but in vain. May it never see the morning light. Curse the day for failing to shut my mother's womb, for letting me be born to see all this trouble. Why wasn't I born dead? Why didn't I die as I came from the womb? Why was I laid on my mother's lap? Why did she nurse me at her breast? Had I died at birth, I would now be at peace. I would be asleep and at rest. I would rest with the world's kings and prime ministers, whose great buildings now lie in ruins. I would rest with princes rich in gold, whose palaces were filled with silver. Why wasn't I buried like a stillborn child, like a baby who never lives to see the light? For in death the wicked cause no trouble, and the weary are at rest. Even captives are at ease in death, with no guard to curse them. Rich and poor are both there, and the slave is free from his master. Oh, why give light to those in misery, and life to those who are bitter? They long for death, and it won't come. They search for death more eagerly than hidden treasure. They're filled with joy when they finally die, and rejoice when they find the grave. Why is life given to those with no future? Those God has surrounded with difficulties. I cannot eat for sighing. My groans pour out like water. What I always feared has happened to me. What I dreaded has come true. I have no peace, no quietness. I have no rest, and only trouble comes. Eliphaz's first response to Job, Job 4:1-21. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied to Job, "Will you be patient and let me say a word?" Will you be patient and let me say a word? In other words, can you stop talking for a minute so I can speak? That's what he's saying. Be patient and let me say a word, for who could keep from speaking out? In the past you have encouraged many people. You have strengthened those who are weak. Your words have supported those who are falling. You encourage those with shaky knees. But now when trouble strikes, you lose your heart. You are terrified when it touches you. Doesn't your reverence for God give you confidence? Doesn't your life of integrity give you hope? Stop and think. Do the innocent die? When have the upright been destroyed? My experience shows that those who plant trouble and cultivate evil will harvest the same. A breath from God destroys them. They vanish in the blast of his anger. The lion roars and the wildcat snarls, but the teeth of the strong lions will be broken. The fierce lion will starve for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness will be scattered. This truth was given to me in secret, as though whispered in my ear. It came to me in a disturbing vision at night, when people are in a deep sleep. Fear gripped me, and my bones trembled. A spirit swept past my face, and my hair stood on end. The spirit stopped, but I couldn't see its shape. There was a form before my eyes. In silence, I heard a voice say, "Can a mortal be innocent before God? Can anyone be pure before the Creator? If God does not trust his own angels and has charged his messengers with foolishness, how much less will he trust people made of clay? They are made of dust, crushed as easily as a moth. They are alive in the morning, but dead by evening, gone forever without a trace. Their tent cords are pulled, and their tent collapses, and they die in ignorance." Yeah, I think they are in the same time period, Nikki. It says at the beginning of Job that it's thought to have taken place around the time of Abraham. So we're just the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I think they kept Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob together and then moved on to Job, since it was the same time period. But to keep it together, and instead of writing it right back and forth at the same time, they kept it consistent. But that's what it says, is that it was at the time of, is thought to have been the time of Abraham. All right. We are January 19th. January is the longest month of the year. I feel like we have been in January for 312 days. Is it really only the 19th? What on earth? All right, January 19th, the grace of forgiveness. John saw Jesus coming toward him and said, "Look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." John 1:29. It's important to understand, why exactly did Jesus, this wonderful Son of God, have to die? John 3:16. The answer lies in the very nature of God and the very nature of humankind. Sebastian, you stop. Come here. You're mouthy, and it's getting on my nerves. Sit down. God is without sin, and we human beings are not. So we cannot stand before our holy God in our sin. But there is a bridge that enables us to connect with God: Jesus. Jesus was the spotless Lamb of God. He was spotless because he never sinned. He perfectly kept the law of Moses. He perfectly loved God with all he was, and he perfectly loved people. 2 Corinthians 5:21. Jesus' victory over sin and death was necessary because it secured our forgiveness and allowed us to be in contact with our holy God. When we invite him into our hearts to be the Lord of our lives, he moves in, he forgives, he redeems, he restores, regardless of what you have done or what has been done to you. That's why I often say, let what he has done for you become bigger than what anyone has done to you. That's the grace of receiving forgiveness and extending it to others. Lord, you see my faults more clearly than I do, yet you love me with a gracious, forgiving, cleansing, and redeeming love. Thank you. His friends were not, they were like by his side through his pain, but then not giving great advice, were they, Faith, the termite? All right. Let's go ahead and end our morning in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, thank you so much for Thursday. Thank you for another day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you for the opportunity to share the word. Thank you that we have that freedom to do so. I pray, Father, that you will be with us all today in any situation that we are facing. I know of many struggles going on right now, Father, and I just pray that you will wrap your arms around folks and Let them feel the comfort that you provide. Father, I pray specifically for a situation in our local community of bullying that is weighing heavily on some families here, and I just pray for wisdom on the parents' side. I pray for wisdom and attention on the side of the schools. I pray for all of those involved that you will just be a comfort, be a voice of reason and wisdom and how to deal with situations that are extremely, extremely difficult. I pray, Father, that you will just provide us peace today as we go about our day. Give us passion for you, passion for others, and just a passionate heart of love for those that surround us. Help us to love our neighbors the way you love our neighbors. Please just go before us and keep our hearts and minds focused on you. In your precious name I pray. Amen. Okay, my friends, I thank you for joining me this morning. I'm going to make breakfast. What time is it? 7:28. I'm going to make a smoothie. I have got a hankering for a peanut butter cup smoothie. So that is what I'm going to make today. A peanut butter cup smoothie. I hope you'll join me. I will send a text when I'm ready. It won't be but a few minutes. And we'll make it together. Yes. Did you come to say hi? Come say hi. Come say good morning. Hello. Come here. Hey, come here. Say hello. He's foolish this morning. All right. I'll see you live for breakfast in just a few minutes, I hope. Otherwise, I hope to see you back tomorrow for more devotions. Love you guys.